The night was quiet. The human man sat on his small balcony looking at the stars. The city was calm, but his eyes were fixed on one place only, the house next door. It belonged to an alien family. He had lived beside them for months, but he never really spoke to them much. They kept to themselves. But tonight something was wrong. The window of the house was glowing, not like the light of a lamp, but like a soft heartbeat. It pulsed slowly, bright, then dim, bright, then dim. His chest tightened as he watched it. It felt alive. He had never seen anything like it. At first, he thought maybe it was just some alien decoration. Maybe their kind had strange lights inside their homes, but then he heard something, a sound that made his skin crawl. It was a cry, low and broken, not the cry of a machine, but of a living being. He leaned forward, his heart beating faster. He could hear it again, a whisper between the cries, a girl's voice trembling and weak. She spoke in her alien tongue, then tried to say something in broken human language. It was almost like she was begging. The man stood up, unsure if he should go closer. It was none of his business, he told himself. Aliens had their own ways. Maybe this was normal for them. But the sound of her pain echoed in his head. It didn't sound normal. It sounded like suffering. He walked to the fence between their houses. The glow was stronger now, almost spilling out of her window. His shadow stretched across the grass. As he moved closer, he placed his hand on the cold wood of the fence and listened. The whispers grew louder. The alien girl's voice cracked, her words mixed, half alien, half human, but the meaning was clear. "Please," she whispered. "Please don't leave me." The man froze, his mouth dry. She had seen him. Maybe, through the thin curtains, or maybe she felt him there. He didn't know, but her voice reached him like a knife to the heart. He tried to turn away, but her cry came again. Sharper this time, filled with fear. It didn't sound like something he could ignore. He took a deep breath, climbed over the fence, and stepped onto the soft ground of her yard. Every step closer made the glow brighter. The air around her window felt warm, almost burning, like standing near a fire. But this was no fire. It was something else, something alive. He reached the window and pulled the curtain slightly. His breath caught in his throat. Inside the room, on the floor, lay the alien girl, her skin glowing faintly like silver under the moonlight. Her body trembled as if she was fighting against herself. Her hair clung to her face with sweat, and her eyes, glowing faint blue, turned toward him. For a moment he wanted to run. His instincts screamed at him. This was dangerous, not human, not safe, but when her lips parted, he didn't see a monster. He saw fear. "Help me," she whispered, her voice breaking, her body shaking harder. The glow flickered wildly. The man pressed his hand against the glass without thinking, his mind racing. What was happening to her? Was this some alien sickness or something worse? She reached out a weak hand toward him, though there was still glass between them. Her fingers trembled, her eyes pleading. His heart pounded. He didn't know what to do, but one thing was clear. If he walked away now, she might not survive the night. He pulled back from the window, standing in the yard with his thoughts spinning. Should he go in? Should he call someone? Would anyone even believe him? The glow pulsed again, brighter than ever. The girl's voice cracked into a scream, raw and desperate. The man clenched his fists. He couldn't just stand there anymore. Something was pulling him toward her. Something stronger than fear, stronger than reason. That night, under the strange glow, his life began to change, and he had no idea how deep the change would go. The man stood frozen outside her window, the cries and whispers still echoing in his ears. The night air felt heavy, pressing against his chest. Every part of him wanted to walk away, pretend he never heard her, but her trembling voice clung to him like chains. Slowly he reached for the old side door of her house. The wood creaked as his hand touched the handle. It was unlocked. He hesitated. His heart raced, but the thought of her breaking voice made his feet move forward. With a push, the door opened and he stepped inside. The smell hit him first, not of food or dust, but of heat, thick and sharp. The air was warmer here, almost burning. He followed, The sound. His steps quiet. The whispers grew clearer, every word pulling him deeper into the shadows. Don't leave, please. It hurts. The alien girl's broken words floated through the hall, her voice cracked and weak. He moved closer. The walls seemed to glow faintly, as if her energy spread beyond her room. When he reached the door, he stopped. Sweat slid down his neck, though the night was cool outside. He pressed his ear against the wood. The whispers were right there, trembling, desperate. He pushed the door open, just a little. The sight inside made his breath catch. She was on the floor, her body curled, glowing like silver fire. Her hands dug into the carpet as if fighting some unseen force. Her hair stuck to her wet face, her eyes shut tight. Then suddenly she opened them. Glowing blue light cutting through the dark. Her gaze locked on him. You came, she whispered, her voice cracked but filled with something strange. Relief. He froze in the doorway, unsure if he had made a mistake, but her eyes softened, not like a predator, but like someone clinging to the last thread of hope. I can't. Stop it, she said in broken human tongue. The season, burning me, needs someone. He stepped forward slowly, every instinct screaming to turn back, to run, but her shaking hand reached toward him, her fingers trembling, weak yet pleading. What do you need? He asked, his voice low, careful. Her lips trembled, she struggled to breathe. Stay, just stay. Don't go. The glow around her pulsed faster, her body shaking as if fire lived inside her veins. He crouched down, unsure of what to do. The heat rolling from her body was strong. His skin tingled. She whispered again, her words slipping between alien and human language. If alone, I break. If someone here, I hold, he realized then. She wasn't asking him to fight anything, she just needed his presence, his nearness. It was the only thing holding her together. The man's hand shook as he slowly reached forward. He didn't touch her yet, just held his hand close, her glowing eyes followed it, and for a second her trembling slowed. You, she whispered almost in awe. Your presence stops the fire. He swallowed hard, fear and confusion mixing in his chest. Why him? Why a human? Wasn't this something her people should handle? But she looked at him as if he was the only one left in her world. Her body jerked suddenly. Her glow flashed brighter. She gasped in pain, her head dropping to the floor. Don't go, she begged, her voice raw, her eyes filling with wet light. He moved closer, kneeling by her side. His hand hovered just above her shoulder. His heart pounded like a drum. I'm here, he said firmly, his voice shaking but strong. And as if those words carried power, her body calmed a little. The light pulsed softer, her breathing slowed, she still trembled, but it was less violent. Her eyes locked on him, and for the first time, he saw something different inside them. Not just pain, but recognition, as if her instincts had marked him, chosen him. The whisper in the dark wasn't just her cry for help. It was the start of something binding, something neither of them understood yet. The man knew one thing only. His life was no longer simple, no longer safe. From the moment he stepped into that glowing room, everything had changed. The room was glowing like a living flame. The human man sat close to her, afraid to move. Her trembling body lit the walls with waves of silver and blue. It looked beautiful but dangerous, like a star about to explode. He had no idea what was happening to her, only that she needed him. The alien girl's chest rose and fell in quick, sharp breaths. Her skin shimmered as if light was trapped beneath it. She clenched her fists against the floor, whispering broken words, half in her language, half in his. It burns. Inside. No control, she whispered, her voice breaking with each word. He swallowed hard, his throat dry. What is happening to you? He asked softly, his hand hovering near her shoulder. Her glowing eyes opened slowly, filled with pain and fear. The season, she whispered. We call it the fire season. When it comes, we either bond or we die. His heart stopped. The word die echoed in his head. He leaned closer. Die? You mean this could kill you? She nodded weakly, her body shaking harder. Sweat ran down her skin, glowing faintly like liquid light. If no one close, if no one stays, the fire eats us. It burns heart, soul, until nothing left. The man froze, he had thought. It was some illness, some strange alien fever, but this was something deeper, more dangerous. She wasn't just sick. Her very life was on the edge. Where are your people? He asked quickly. Why are you alone like this? Tears slid down the side of her glowing face. Her voice cracked. They left. Said I must endure alone. No family to guard me. No chosen one. So I was cast aside. His chest tightened. He didn't understand her culture, but he understood abandonment. She had been left to suffer this on her own, to either survive or die without help. She clutched her chest suddenly, crying out, her body arching as the glow pulsed like fire breaking. Through her veins he panicked, reaching for her, but pulled back, afraid he might hurt her. Tell me what to do, he shouted, his voice shaking. Her hand shot up, weak but desperate, grabbing his wrist, the moment her skin touched his. The glow changed. The wild pulsing slowed. Her body eased, not fully calm, but steadier. Her lips trembled as she whispered, only you. Your touch cools the fire. He stared at her, stunned, his rough human hand against her glowing alien skin, and yet it worked. His presence slowed the storm inside her. She closed her eyes, breathing slower now. Every season, we bond with one who steadies us. If none, we burn away. The weight of her words crushed him. He had stepped into this house only to help a neighbor, and now she was telling him that her life depended on him. His mind raced. This was too much. He was just a human. An ordinary man. Why him? Why not someone from her people? But when she opened her glowing eyes again, filled with desperation, he realized she had no one else. Please, she whispered, her grip on his wrist trembling but firm. Don't let go. If you leave, I die. He couldn't look away. Her pain was raw, her need so real, the fire inside her body reflected in her eyes. Slowly, he placed his other hand gently on her shoulder, his skin burning slightly from the heat. But he didn't pull away. Her body shook, then eased again. The glow dimmed just enough for her breathing to steady. Her eyes softened, a faint light of hope inside them. You don't know what this means, human. Your presence. It binds me. He frowned, confused. Binds you? What do you mean? She shook her head weakly, her voice barely a whisper. Not now. If I survive tonight, you will know. His stomach dropped. The weight of her words was heavy. This wasn't just about saving her life. Something larger was unfolding, something he didn't understand. As the hours passed, he stayed by her side, holding her hand whenever. The fire inside her flared each time his touch brought her back from the edge. Her whispers turned softer. Her eyes clung to him as if he was her anchor. The man knew then that he was caught in something he couldn't escape. This wasn't just about one night. This was the beginning of a bond that could change both of their lives forever. The night dragged on. The human man sat close to her, his hand still resting against her glowing skin. Every time he thought about pulling away, her grip tightened, her breathing quickened, and the fire inside her body flared again. It was as if his very presence held back the storm raging in her veins. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing blue in the dark room. She looked at him with something more than pain now, something deeper. Something heavy? You don't understand, she whispered, her voice weak but clear enough. My kind, when the fire season comes, we do not choose. Instinct chooses for us. The man frowned, his chest tightening. Instinct? He asked, though his throat was dry. She nodded, her trembling body leaning slightly toward him. The one who calms the fire, the one who stops the burning, becomes the bond. She swallowed hard, her words struggling through pain. That bond cannot be broken. He stared at her, his mind spinning. Are you saying Because I stayed here. Because I touched you. You're bound to me now? Her glowing eyes softened, tears mixing with the shine of her skin. Yes, she whispered. Instinct has chosen. It sees you as mine. The words struck him like a blow. His heart raced. The idea felt impossible. He was just a man, an ordinary human living in a small apartment. How could he suddenly become the center of some alien ritual, some ancient force he didn't even understand? She must have seen the fear in his face, because her hand squeezed his wrist gently. Her voice breaking, I didn't plan this. I didn't want this. But if you walk away now, the bond will shatter, and I will burn. His chest felt heavy, torn between fear and pity. Why me? He whispered. Why not someone else from your people? She looked away, shame flickering in her glowing eyes. Because I have no one, she said softly. No guardian, no family, no chosen mate. When the fire came, I was left to die alone. The silence between them was sharp. Her words cut deep. He realized that stepping into this house wasn't just an act of kindness anymore. It was a step into her world, a world where she was unwanted, abandoned, and now tied to him through forces beyond control. The fire inside her flared suddenly. Her body tensed. She cried out in pain. The glow burst brighter. The room lit up as if a small sun had risen inside. Without thinking, he pulled her into his arms, his hand pressing firmly against her back. Her body jolted, then slowly melted against him. The wild light softened. Her breaths steadied. Her trembling eased. Her forehead pressed weakly against his chest. Her voice came as a broken whisper. See? Your touch? It seals the bond tighter. He swallowed hard, staring at the glowing strands of her hair against his arm. And if I don't accept it? If I refuse? She lifted her head weakly, her glowing eyes locking onto his. Then the bond tears me apart from inside, she whispered, and I die before morning. His blood ran cold. She was tied to him completely now. His choice was no longer just about kindness or fear. It was life or death. For her. He looked at her fragile form trembling in his arms, her glow faint but steady when near him. The instinct she spoke of was real, undeniable. Outside the window the night was silent, but inside the room it felt like the world had shifted. He whispered to himself, bound by instinct, trapped by fate. But deep inside he knew the truth. He could never walk away now. Morning came slowly. The glow inside her body faded, though faint sparks still shimmered beneath her skin. The man sat beside her, exhausted but unable to leave. He had not slept. His eyes burned, but his mind burned even more. He kept replaying her words again and again. The bond cannot be broken. When she finally opened her eyes, weak but alive, she looked at him with something almost tender. You stayed, she whispered, her voice fragile. You saved me. He only nodded, unsure what to say. His chest was heavy. His life had turned upside down in just one night. But soon he learned the bond was not their secret anymore. By the time he stepped outside to breathe the morning air, he felt them. Eyes watching, cold and sharp. The neighbors, alien men and women from nearby houses, stood in small groups whispering to one another, their gazes fixed on him. Their eyes glowed faintly in the daylight, a sign of their kind. Some looked at him with disbelief, others with anger. One woman even hissed softly as if he had crossed some sacred line. He froze on the path. Every whisper felt like a stone thrown at him. He heard the words, broken but clear enough. A human? She bonded with a human? Impossible. Unclean. The weight of their judgment pressed on his chest. He turned back toward the house, but one figure stepped forward. An elder alien, tall and stern, his skin patterned with faint marks of age, his glowing eyes sharp as blades. You, the elder, said in a low, steady voice, his human tongue thick but clear. Step closer. The man hesitated, but the elder's command left no room for refusal. He walked a few steps forward, the crowd silent. The elder studied him with cold eyes, then spoke slowly. The bond is real, we feel it. She chose you. Or rather, instinct chose you. The man's jaw tightened. He opened his mouth to speak, but the elder raised a hand, silencing him. You must understand, human. The elder continued. Once chosen, there is no release, no escape. Her fire is tied to your presence. If you leave, she dies. The man's heart pounded. He already knew this from her, but hearing it from the elder made it heavier. The elder stepped closer, lowering his voice. But know this too. By taking her fire into your care, you invite her people's eyes upon you. Some will hate you. Some will envy you. Others will try to break you. The man swallowed hard, his chest burning with unease. He glanced at the groups watching, some faces twisted with disgust, others with quiet fear. She is yours now, the elder said firmly, his glowing eyes narrowing. And you are hers? Until death takes one of you. The words struck like a chain locking shut. From behind him he heard a weak voice. The girl had come to the doorway, her body still frail, but her eyes glowing softly. Stop, she said, her voice trembling but steady. He did not ask for this. Do not curse him. The elder looked at her for a long moment, then turned away. Leaving with slow steps, the others followed, though many threw sharp looks at the human before turning their backs. The man turned to her, his voice low. Why? Do they hate me already? She lowered her head, shame flickering in her eyes. Because our kind does not bond with humans. You are the first they have seen. He froze, the truth settling heavy in his stomach. No wonder they stared like that. No wonder they whispered. This wasn't just unusual. It was unheard of. They will not forgive? It easily, she whispered, her eyes on the ground. Some may even try to tear us apart. He clenched his fists, looking at the street where the others had vanished. His heart pounded with anger and fear. He never asked for this, but now he stood at the center of something far larger than himself. When he turned back to her, she was trembling, not from fire this time, but from fear. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't choose. My body did. He sighed deeply, walking toward her. Then I guess, he said, his voice firm, though his heart raced. We'll face this together. Her glowing eyes widened, a mix of surprise and relief filling them. For the first time, since last night, she allowed herself to smile, faint and fragile but real, yet in the shadows of the street the stares still lingered, and he knew the worst was only beginning. The days that followed were heavy. The whispers of the alien neighbors never stopped. Every time the man stepped outside, he felt their glowing eyes on him, judging, doubting, waiting for him to fail. Yet inside the house, his life was even more intense. The alien girl grew weaker. As the fire season reached its peak, her glow grew brighter each night, her body shaking harder. Sometimes she collapsed against him, trembling as if the storm inside her veins was tearing her apart. One evening, the air itself seemed to burn. The temperature in her room rose like a furnace. Sweat covered his face as he sat beside her. Her body curled on the floor, her breath shallow and broken. It's coming, she whispered, her voice shaking like glass about to break. The storm, the final trial. He leaned closer, panic in his chest. What happens if you can't hold it? Her glowing eyes opened, filled with fear. Then the fire consumes me, and I disappear. The words froze him. He grabbed her hand. No, I won't let that happen. Her body jerked violently. A scream broke from her lips. The glow around her exploded, filling the room with blinding silver light. The walls shook. As if the energy itself was alive, he shielded his eyes but refused to move away. Her voice cracked through the storm. Stay with me. Don't let me fall. Without thinking, he pulled her into his arms. The heat seared his skin. It felt like holding fire itself. But he didn't let go. His arms tightened around her trembling frame. Her glowing face pressed against his chest. The storm inside her body raged. Her glow flashed brighter and brighter. Every beat of her heart felt like thunder against him. He thought his arms might fail, His body might collapse from the heat, but he held on. Breathe, he whispered into her hair, his voice shaking. Stay here with me, breathe. Her body thrashed, then stilled for a moment. Her glowing eyes looked up at him, wide and desperate. Why would you suffer this for me? He stared back at her, sweat dripping down his face, his body burning, yet his voice came firm. Because you're not alone anymore. Her lips parted, a sound between a sob and a gasp escaped her. And then, the storm roared again. The light burst out, shaking the wall so hard that glass cracked, but this time she clung to him, her hands gripping his arms, her body pressing tighter against his. The fire inside her seemed to fight itself, but slowly it began to bend. Minutes felt like hours. The glow dimmed, the violent trembling softened. Her screams turned into broken sobs. Her fire began to settle. At last, her body went limp in his arms, her glow fading to a soft silver, like moonlight instead of burning flame. Her breathing was steady again, her heart slow and calm. The man fell to his knees, still holding her, his chest heaving with exhaustion. His arms burned, his skin red from the heat, but he didn't care. She looked up at him weakly, tears in her glowing eyes. You saved me. Again. He brushed the wet strands of hair from her face, his hands trembling. No, we saved you together. Her lips curved into the faintest smile, fragile but real. She closed her eyes, whispering, The storm is over. I survived. Because of you. He held her close, his heart pounding not just with fear but with something else now, something warm, something dangerous. Outside, the neighbors had gathered. They felt the storm too. Some whispered in awe, others in anger, but none could deny what had happened. The human had held her fire and lived. The bond between them was sealed forever. And as he looked down at her sleeping form in his arms, the truth settled heavy in his chest. His life would never return to normal. The storm was gone. The room that had burned with wild silver fire was now calm. Only soft light glowed faintly around her skin. The man still held her in his arms, his body weak, his muscles sore, but he refused to let go. Her breathing was steady. Now her head rested against his chest. She was alive. He could feel the warmth of her heartbeat against him. Steady, strong. She had survived the fire season. When she opened her eyes slowly, they no longer burned with wild blue flames. They shined softly, calm and deep. She looked at him not with fear but with something else. Trust. Belonging. You stayed, she whispered weakly, her lips trembling but forming a smile. No one has ever stayed for me before. He brushed her damp hair back gently, his voice hoarse. I wasn't going to let you die. She closed her eyes again, tears slipping down. Then it is done, she whispered. The bond is complete. You are mine now. And I am yours. The words made his chest tighten, not with fear this time, but with something heavier. He understood now. This wasn't just about survival. This was forever. When he carried her outside for fresh air, the street was no longer silent. The neighbors had gathered, their glowing eyes locked on the human carrying the alien girl. Whispers spread like fire. Impossible. He held her storm. The bond is sealed. The elder stepped forward again, his tall figure casting a long shadow. He studied the man for a long moment, then spoke in a low voice. So it is true. The fire has chosen you, a human. The crowd stirred with anger and disbelief. Some muttered curses. Others shook their heads in fear. The man's jaw tightened. He felt their eyes like knives against his back, but he stood tall, the girl weak but holding his hand as if to show them all. The elder raised his hand for silence, his glowing eyes narrowing. Understand this, human. From this day, you are not only tied to her, you are tied to us. Her survival marks you, her bond shields you, but it also curses you. Many will not accept this, many will try to tear it apart. The man met the elder's eyes firmly, his voice steady. Then let them try, I won't abandon her. Gasps spread through the crowd, some with shock, some with fury. But the girl beside him squeezed his hand tighter, her glowing eyes shining with tears. The elder studied him for a moment longer, then turned away. "So be it," he said, his voice cold. "Let the bond stand." Slowly the crowd began to scatter. Though many threw sharp stares at the human as they left, the whispers did not stop, but their meaning was clear. Fear, envy, anger, and something else. Respect. When the street was finally empty, the girl leaned against him, weak but smiling faintly. "You spoke for me. Before them all." He looked at her, his chest heavy but warm. "I wasn't speaking for you alone," he said softly. "I was speaking for us." Her eyes widened, her lips trembling. Then she let out a small laugh, weak but full of relief. "Us," she repeated as if the word itself gave her strength. That night, as he helped her back inside, he realized the truth. His life was no longer his own. Every step forward would be harder. Every day watched by those who doubted them. But none of that mattered, because in holding her through the storm, he had discovered something he never expected. She was no longer just his neighbor. She was his bond, his burden, and perhaps his future. As she lay down to rest, she whispered one last thing before sleep took her. "You turned my fire into light. I belong to you now." He sat beside her, staring at the faint silver glow that now pulsed. Gently in her chest he thought of the word the elder had spoken, curse. But in his heart, it felt like something else. It felt like destiny.